Hey guys,
Us.
this is Abu G from the forum, discussing my project on a truer infotainment system, one that has more feature rich and access to the internet, with basically most features that a typical smartphone can use. And how we go about doing this and how we maximize the screen area for that. The video I actually made last night, but I went straight into the nitty gritty. This is just an intro that I did today. The video that I did last night is also shot pretty much in the dark, so its resolution is not as great with this camera, unfortunately. It's better now that I got the internal lights on. This is something I've been doing in my spare time that I spent some time upon. It did go a step back when Google did some automatic updates, so I suggest you turn off the automatic updates in the Google Play Store, because otherwise you might have to start again like I did. And basically what the system will involves two phones. A cheap old phone that's based on Android that stays in the car. This is the one I'm using. I refer to it in the video frequently as the old phone or the cheap phone or the broken phone, as the screen is all mashed up and broken, as you can see there. And also that phone has no data SIM. It connects to a main phone, which is your daily phone, which is the one I'm recording from at the moment. So that daily phone can be any type of phone. It can be a Android, it can be Apple with iOS, or it can be a Windows phone, or it can be BlackBerry. It can be any type of smartphone that has Wi-Fi and that has internet data, and that can set up a hotspot. That can set up a Wi-Fi hotspot, which it needs to be set up on the main phone, and I discussed that in the video. And that's how a second phone takes the old one that stays in the car, takes the data, and then it uses that data and projects the abilities on the screen using Android Auto, which I discussed in the video in detail. First thing you will notice, it is not the same as what you might be used to, and that is mainly because the bar across the bottom is missing. All I did is replaced it with a button here, and there's an app that will do that for you. And you can make that as big as you want. You can make it as small, not as big as you want, but there's certain settings you can make it into. This is the most minimal. You can make it even disappear completely, but disappearing completely, you lose some function that you really need. Because we're going to still use Android Auto for our navigation. For example, if you want to navigate, you click on the Google button on the steering wheel, and Google will come up. Navigate to NEC.
Okay, handing you over to Waze.
So that you're gonna still use your navigation, your normal navigation system and Android Auto, but obviously it's using this broken phone. So the Waze is stored on this broken phone. Yeah. I'm not sure what's happened here. Okay. Anyway, I don't really use this that much, so I'm not that familiar with it. Just to show that it's working and the touchscreen is working, and the audio was working through.
We're all set. Let's go.
The audio is working. GPS is working. Yeah. All right. So you want to come out of this. This is what this button is for, to come out of this. Otherwise you get a bit stuck. Otherwise you're just restricted to the power button going back into the original screen that MG has set up. So having this button here, this is to go back into Android Auto startup page. Okay, so the main app that we have here that we're going to use today is called Screen to Auto, which is down at the bottom there. Screen to Auto. This app is the main app that we got that allows these functions. Let's cancel navigation. How do you left with? How do we cancel navigation? Cancel maybe here. Yeah, end drive. Okay. So we're gonna load up Screen to Auto. Okay, this is the main page for Screen to Auto itself. Okay, this is not my I'll put this down here. That's the phone. This is not my my normal. This is, you won't have normal in your phone, but you can set it up and you can add what apps you want here, and you can have all your apps page there. So these are all the apps are currently installed on this phone. Okay, so screen to auto will allow for all these things. Yeah, for example, you can go into YouTube, and that's YouTube loaded up. Let's click on something. Okay, ads is a problem. So there you see, full screen playing. Okay. The other thing how do we stop it? It's not English. Okay. So that's the YouTube. Get rid of that. Okay, this is screen to audio. We'll come screen to auto. We'll come back to that in a second. Yeah, the question you might be asking: how do we get the internet for the YouTube? So this broken phone down here, it has no SIM card in it. It has no data in it. What it does have is Wi-Fi that can switch on and off, and then that Wi-Fi connects to my daily phone, the one I'm recording from, by having a hotspot set up on my daily phone. A hotspot which uses my data and loads up a Wi-Fi connection which is already preset on the rooted phone, on the cheap broken phone, and it uses the data of the daily phone through that connection. So this obviously saves you from having two SIMs and two data bundles. Secondly, also what it is, we have another app on the daily phone that's called S2 Echo. S and then the number 2, the digit 2, and Echo. It's made by the same people who make Screen to Auto. And that app, what it does is basically a bit like Tasker. It sets some automation tasks. So as soon as your Bluetooth will connect to the car stereo. So as soon as you get into the car and you switch the car on and your Bluetooth connects to the car stereo, then what that will do, it will automatically switch on your hotspot. It will automatically switch on your hotspot, and then that allows for the phone here, the rooted phone, the broken phone, to connect to your main phone automatically. And likewise, when your main phone is connected to the Bluetooth, you can still use the phone settings down here. The phone settings down here are still usable. And you can still call out, you can still receive calls, and I'll give you a small demonstration of that maybe in a bit. Yeah. What you can't receive though is messages. If you get any messages, you can also receive WhatsApp calls through the same system, but however, any form of messages, whether text messages or WhatsApp messages or anything else similar to that, or any email messages, the messages won't flash up on Android Auto. The messages won't flash up on Android Auto. If you wanted that system, then what you'd have to do is unplug your rooted phone and plug your main phone directly into the system. So then Android Auto is running from your main phone. But then you will lose all this extra functionality that we're talking about today. But you can switch and change. So on days where you need the more features of this infotainment system, then you can use the rooted phone, and on the days when you need to make your business calls and the like, and have access to your emails, then you can use your normal phone hooked up to the infotainment system, which will give you the original features that you should already be aware of. Okay. Likewise, this feature also allows Android. If you got your main phone, if it was I haven't tested it myself, but in theory it should work. So if your main phone was a Apple running iOS, this is just the lock screen. If your main phone was Apple running iOS, then it should still be able to set. Obviously, you won't be able to use S2 Echo because that's an Android app. But then you could still manually set up a hotspot, or you could use some other tasking automated type apps to do that for you. Whenever your Bluetooth connects, that hotspot is automatically activated with the pre-settings that you've already set in there. So that would be possible even with a iOS phone, an Apple phone. or anything else like BlackBerry, or if you have a Windows phone or whatever phone you have. Okay, so the main app here is Screen to OK. We'll come back to that in a bit. I just want to show you some of the other functionalities. So here we have VLC installed. So VLC here is playing Transformers Prime.
Without a price. What is it that you wish?
So you can see it's full screen. The only have is that button here at the bottom, which is essentially you don't want to get rid of that button. Also, you can't see the nav bar at the bottom, but it is, you can't press on that area sometimes. Sometimes if you want to press on that area, it doesn't register the clicks. Yeah, it doesn't register the clicks. Okay, so as you can see there, this is all working, yeah? And you have the typical feeling, you can jump. Subtitles, I don't think there's any subtitles installed for here. Okay. You can jump ahead and the likes, yeah? Okay, let's stop that. Stop, pause. Okay, we're gonna go back to our main screen. And that, okay. The another thing you're gonna need to, you saw me there, is I'm using some gestures. That's another app you're gonna need to install. Yeah, to get this working. So that way you don't have again another navigation bar on your screen. You don't have another navigation bar on your screen, so you can use gestures. I use this one called full screen gestures, but there'll be so many other apps that will do the similar sort of thing. So basically, if you swipe from this end, you can see that black thing coming up. If you swipe from that end, it goes back. If you swipe from this end, it won't work on this screen. If you go to any other screen, for example, if you go to this screen, if you swipe from this end, it will get up your task managers, all the apps that you've recently had going. Okay, let's shut this down. Okay, so it loads up all the apps that you got running, yeah? That's the Play Store, yeah? So you got Play Store here. I tried installing Prime Video, but I was having problems with it, so I just uninstalled it. The screen is not very sensitive, but I think that's just the MG screen. So again, you can install wherever it works, yeah? I'm not sure whether I've heard with Disney, people have had problems getting that to play. But I've heard people have been successful with Netflix. I haven't personally tried it because I don't use them. Yeah, I use mainly MB, and most of my stuff is downloaded. MB is similar to Plex. Okay, but again, I haven't set it up on here because I watch that at home. Don't really watch it when I'm out and about. Okay, because I have the free version of it. I don't have the paid subscribed version. Okay. So the problem with this screen, this is not an app on. This is only comes up on the system. You can't display that on the phone itself. Yeah, where's the phone gone? There it is. Yeah, you can't display that on the phone. It's upside down. You can't display that on the phone itself. Okay, but if you go to this is what I've set up as the launcher screen. This again is another app called, what's it called? It's called Car Launcher Free. It's called Car Launcher Free. But there's many other launchers you can use anyway. Again, I don't like getting apps that got lots of ads in them, and I don't like getting apps that you have to pay for. So I've got that. I've also got Nova Launcher on here as well, but it's not set up. Okay. Another video player I use is MPV. I find this far better than VLC, especially if you got some heavy duty encoding. Yeah, if you got some heavy duty encoding. Then it will play it better than VLC. VLC can be more choppy. For example, here we have 256 1080p cause with subtitles on there, and that's loading up. I'm just going to let's jump it forward a bit. Okay, this has got audio, so English. Sometimes it has more than one language, so you can switch the language like that. Next is subtitles. It's got subs are not recognizing for whatever reason, and then it's got hardware and software. So at the moment, it's running on the hardware GPU, which is what you want to set it to. I'm not sure which is. You want to set it to hardware. I'm not sure which is hardware. Whether that's hardware now, or you have to click it to go to hardware. Okay. Anyway, that's playing nicely, yeah, in widescreen. Okay. Let's stop this. Again, best way is to use our get rid of it. Then go to our home screen. So the middle one goes to the home screen, which is here. You can set it to this one as well, which I had it done before, but for some reason it's come off. Yeah. This is what I like as a launcher, because nice and simple, nice big buttons. Some of them switch over, like here, that switches to outside temperature, and that's your GPS, the GPS in the phone. Okay, so that can also give you a speedometer here, which you can compare to your in-car speedometer. Roughly on my car, it's 1 mile. When I get to 40, it's 1 miles per hour out. When I get to 40, it's reading 1 miles per hour extra at 40. Where this my GPS is reading at 39 miles per hour. You can switch this over to a clock or a compass, which is nice if you like that. And if you do once more, it goes to a clock, digital clock, and then to an analog clock maybe. Yeah, and then to an analog clock as well, which is nice. Okay, and this can be running constantly. You can make this your phone is pretty. You can see that the brightness is pretty low, but you can even make it more dimmer than that. At the moment, I haven't, because I'm still messing with it, fiddling around with it. And one last one, which I don't like, you can even get Google Maps on here. Oh, maybe it's not. Sorry, Google Maps on this one is on this side, which I don't like, because it's hard to unclick it once you click it. Yeah, and you can see all these other buttons that work nicely. That's the Android, Google. So you press it once, press it twice to cancel. Settings, that's all your apps on the top corner, all loading up. Again, so these are some apps shortcuts I have set up, and it's here we go to Google. Yeah, this one shows you Google. Again, getting it on is easy, but getting it off is a problem. So you can zoom in and out, you can move around and stuff like that. I don't really see the point of it personally. Okay, but getting it off is a problematic. Usually takes me a good okay, there, it's worked now. Usually takes me a good few goes. So next, so we show the VLC, show the MPV, show the browser next. You can got several browsers on here. I got Chrome. There's a built-in browser that came with the operating system, and then there's so it uses the built-in keyboard. Again, you can install any keyboard you like. So let's go to MGEVS. The only problem having this button here, it like I said, there's a bar at the bottom, and sometimes it's hard to press the buttons at the bottom, especially the one right next to it, which is a search button. It can be tricky sometimes. You have to sometimes do a few goes before it eventually registers. Okay, so we just go to that. So this is live now. It's using the data from the phone that I'm recording on. Like I said, the phone, the broken phone down here has no SIM in it, has no data, and the Wi-Fi is connected to my daily phone. So here we have the forum. So there's my other one about OBD. Okay, we can demonstrate that as well on here. I just want to get to the the project one for this current video is going to go in. Okay, so project True Infotainment, yeah. So this will be posted in here. If you want more details, hopefully we'll have a link to most of the apps that I used, and stuff. Okay. So this is where you should find more details. If you've got any questions, this is where you need to come to. Okay, so let's go back. So like I said, there's some other apps you're going to need. You need a full screen gestures, which allows you to go back to the screens very quickly. That saves you from having a navigation bar on the screen and gives you some extra space for your videos and to watch. Okay. And again, you can put any apps on here. I put these on, but I haven't really tested them. I just installed them. So again, you can see it's working. You can plan your routes like normal, just use it as normal. Yeah, it's picking up the GPS. You can see there is in Birmingham. Voice commands, I don't know what it said there. Mute switched off, on. Okay, I don't know. I switched the volume up. Okay. But anyway, you can plan your routes in there, yeah, and stuff, yeah. Again, I'm not going to demonstrate how to use this. That's not the purpose of this video. Okay, get rid of that. Oh. Get rid of that. Play Store, get rid of that. That's the full screen gestures. So again, you need a full screen gestures to help with your navigation. There are many apps in the Play Store, but this was one I used. It's called full screen gestures. So basically on this side, it allows you to go into all the recent apps that you've loaded up, and you can click them off to get rid of them, or you can click onto them and load back up. This one is back, so it goes back to whichever app was on before that. And then the bottom one here, if you go up again, that's the home. It goes back to home by doing that from anywhere, yeah. You can set the home to whichever launcher you want as well, but at the moment it's not set to that. The launcher here, I like it because it tells me about tells you the temperature outside, which is 0. Is that correct? No, it's not 0. It's not set up right. It's 5 degrees outside. Okay, it's not set up right. Must be location or something. In the location must be wrong. Okay, that's by location, isn't it? It's getting it through internet data, but that's real. 5 degrees is actually measured, isn't it, by the car? Okay, and that's the GPS. If you swipe, you can switch Bluetooth on and off easily from here as well. Yeah, obviously you can go into your settings and do it by swiping down and stuff, yeah, but it's easier to do it from here, I find, yeah. So we did the time, and you can display through that. You can if you got music running here or a video running here, you can easily control it and switch tracks as well. Let me see if these work. No, that's not having an effect. Although it's paused it. No, it's not having an effect. The telephone button works. I tried that, so it'll connect to my daily phone if I press on the telephone button. And don't want to share my contacts. It'll go to my into the phone app. I think that's the built-in one. Let me just so you can dial a number from here. Let me try voicemail. I don't know the number for voicemail. Okay, anyway, I can't think of anyone to call right now from the top of my head. We don't store numbers like this. So I don't want to go into my contacts. Obviously, the numbers are private. Just go move out of here. So we've always got this button at the bottom to get back to wherever we want to, yeah? And that will get us back into our launcher here. So what else we got here? So you can, any app you want. File manager can be useful to getting in and out if you got things lying around, you want to get to them. It can be useful. As only, like I said, this is not my main phone. I just loaded a few things on here just to test it out. Okay, that's going back. Kill that. Okay, so what else? YouTube. It's probably worth. So that map, ABR, Play Store, we've shown a few. Okay, we can use our. At the moment, Bluetooth is off. Okay, that's another thing. You need to switch Bluetooth off on this phone. This is very important if you want your main phone to be connected to the phone system, the car's phone system. Then you need to deactivate Bluetooth on the phone. There's a way to do that, because obviously every time you load up Android Auto, it automatically wants to connect it. And we'll show you that app, how to do that in a second. Yeah, how to do that a little bit. Let me show you the features. So you can connect, allow for now. So you can see that connecting. This is my other project that we found from the Thai, and eventually they were able to give us the Captain DIY. All credits go to him. I'm not sure whether he's the author or whether he's getting it from someone else, but anyway, it's come through him. So we're grateful for that. So this is our OBD project. Gives us all the car data. So again, you can watch all this if you wanted to while you're moving. So for example, you can check the motor speed, RPMs, the motor torque, and power as you're moving. I have tested it; it does work live, and there is obviously sometimes a bit of a delay. There's a battery. Okay, the battery tab, the charging tab. It's charging at the moment. So 13 amps. Okay, that's going to the low volt battery. The high volt battery is 1 port. I think it's 1 port output. The load is 7.5 because the system is on. The current. Okay, current is not that high. Okay, it's because I got the heating on, obviously. So the heating is drawing some of the current. Otherwise, it'll be around about -13, -14. Okay, so the heater is on at the moment, and that's drawing some current. That's why it's fluctuating a lot. And then we got our tire pressures, which you can get on the dashboard, so that's no big deal. And then down here we can switch the DRL lights on and off. At the moment I just got the dim lights on, because I find it doesn't last long. It lasts for 15-20 minutes and it comes back on again once the app disconnects automatically. So I don't bother using it. And also there's a problem with the alarm. If you happen to switch the car off and it's late at night, the alarm is going to be triggered if that's on. Okay, anything else that we want to display before we show how we did it? FM radio. I need my headphones plugged into the thingy. So on this one, it's got a 3.5-inch jack headphones I need to plug in, and maybe the FM radio will play from the mobile itself. But I don't know. I haven't tested it. But obviously, we have our normal radio. So if you go to here, so we have our normal radio. Which is radio 4. Okay, so it's always important we set it back to this. Okay, otherwise you're gonna have problems. We're gonna have to mute it now. Okay, go back to our Android Auto. Okay, so this is the radio app that's built in. Get rid of that. What's left? Get rid of that. That's our gestures. Screen auto, we're going to come back to that. That's how we set up the phone. Chrome, again, is another browser. You can use any browser you like. We're going to come back to this as well. That's important. Okay, and that's another browser there. Okay, let's go back to our home screen. Anything else left I want to show? YouTube, we showed. That just equalizes for the sound equalizer. Again, it's from the phone sound. I haven't really played around with it much. You can change. Again, this is built up from this one. You can use any. There's lots of apps on the market that do this sort of stuff. That came with the phone, so I don't know. That came with the operating system, so I don't know much about it. How to get hold of it. Okay, then the next main app is Screen to Auto. Let's go into it. This is the main app that you need. So you download it. I've got the 3.45 version. There is a newer version, but I haven't tried it. Generally, I'm not keen to try the newest versions. You always end up with more bugs, and it takes more headache to fix it. So I normally give them a few weeks for other people to sort them bugs out, and then start using these things. Okay, he wants to go to the website to download that new one. Okay. Alright, so this is the Screen to Auto 3.45 screen settings. The main thing you want to do here, this is to dim the phone, which you go on the lowest setting. So you can see is let's have a look on here. What's the brightness like? Yeah, so the brightness there is the lowest. Yeah, okay. Also, you can blacken it out even further than that. You can blacken it out further. So this is automatic. So as soon as the Screen to Auto runs, when the app connects to Android Auto, it will do this for you. You'll set the brightness to the minimum. Obviously, that's useful because you want to preserve the battery as much as you want. You don't want to be sucking your the battery of the phone, sucking the battery of the car all the time. Forced rotation. Again, you want a lot of these apps, they want to go into portrait mode, which is bad because it doesn't look nice. You've seen it a few times on the screen. It doesn't look nice on the phone, on the infotainment system. So you can force screen rotation. I use a separate app. So in here, if you come down, there's an app here that I used. I think if you click on the first one, it goes to the settings. So it's called rotation control. Rotation control. Again, it start this application. So you can start it at boot and stuff, and you can set it quite easily for rotation. Yeah, because sometimes the forced rotation from the screen to auto sometimes doesn't mean sometimes it gets overset. So if you set in landscape. And if this button, I think it stops from other apps from changing it. That button stops from other apps from changing it. But it's not foolproof. It's not foolproof. Some apps can still do it, especially those that have root privileges. Because this rotation control doesn't have root privileges. Just a standard app. Okay. So you need something to keep the phone into landscape as much as possible. Okay, let's go back. Okay, so this is our settings in screen to auto. Next, you have tie the top bar. So if you ever use Android Auto, there's usually a bar at the top. Again, if you want to get rid of that, then that's the way to get rid of it. So I get rid of it so I have as much screen space as possible. Secondly, hide status bar. This is the status bar of the phone, which will come down if you do this. Yeah, so but clicking on this makes it auto hide. Again, this is good. Navigation bar, if you got some Androids have a navigation bar, and if you want to hide them, that's the button to hide them. My phone has got hard buttons, so I don't have the navigation bar there. The next screen is the how you want to change it, so how you want to look on the phone. Okay, I found that one to work best on mine, but you can have a play around at it to see which one works best for you. So that will change how it looks like on the phone. For example, if I use one of the other ones, this one, it gets very narrow on my phone. It gets very narrow on my phone. So basically, on the second setting it is at the moment, it's like the phone is normally. It's the same width as it is, the same dimensions as it is. Other settings here, we don't really need to change any of them. Enable black screen. Again, this can black screen out, so it makes your screen a bit darker. I just left it around about 50 to 58, but you can go a little bit more if you need to. At the moment, probably once I got things set up a bit more, I'll probably put a maximum to black it out as much as possible. That will prevent any screen burning on your phone. Although the screen's already damaged on mine, so it's no big deal. Okay. And also you can have it dimming by hours, so you can have it dimmed at night time, in the evening if you wanted to set that. So you can have it visible in the daytime if you wanted to see the screen. So let's go back to the other settings. So what else is on here? Screen rotation setting. Screen restore. Some phones have problems apparently. I've been alright with my settings, but some phones apparently have problems that the screen it changes and then it won't change back once you disconnect from the system. Once you disconnect the USB, the screen won't change back. Yeah, and that's what that button is for. System launcher. Okay, that original launcher that you see, this screen, this screen launcher is what this is talking about, and it mainly has. This is part of a touch button. Touch button again is like a navigation button. I found it buggy, so I switched it off. And again, it's got these settings here for quick settings to blacken the screen out and to dim the background. The background is for this screen, the infotainment screen. Yeah. So again, you can start any apps that you want to auto start. Double tap to open it up and stuff. Again, I found some of these a bit buggy, so I switched them off. And then you got the clock, which we have already on that screen. You can make this clock smaller if you want. You can also show the notifications on that screen, which if I switch on, I think you got to disconnect and reconnect though for it to. Yeah, it doesn't do it live. You have to disconnect the USB and reconnect it. So reload Android Auto, and then that should work. Okay, that's no big deal. So these are the applications. The applications I've got running at the bottom. If you want to add any apps, you click in here. It's off the screen here, so you might have to change it to you might have to change the rotation. You might have to change the rotation. Yeah, so here you can click whichever apps you want here, and it'll go into that home screen, this screen here. So along the bottom, it'll carry on moving depending on how many apps you got in there. Okay, what else we have here? Okay, the gestures don't work on this screen because this is not a real screen app in the phone. You can't see this screen in the phone. It's just a visual. It's just a projection that the app makes onto the infotainment system. Yeah, so you got to go to a real app, such as we really need to set it to this basically. So it comes to this automatically. It was set before, but it got unset. Okay, let's go back to our settings, which is here. So that's the apps that we chose. I don't think they're saved. I think you'll have to do that. It's not gonna. I don't think it's gonna live update anyway. So you'll have to change your phone to portrait mode to see them properly. Because as you can see, it's off the screen here. Okay, settings, touch button. Stay away from that. It might be alright for you, but it was dodgy for me. It was too buggy. So that's why I downloaded the full screen gestures instead. I find that much better. Again, there's more settings here. Again, for auto starting stuff, shutting things down as soon as the app shuts down. Tasker, which is important for some people, you're going to need some automation done to make the. For example, you don't want your phone's battery to die later. So later on, you might want some tasks to switch off the Wi-Fi, switch off the GPS, switch off and put it into basically maybe in low battery state. Put it into battery saver state and stuff like that after the app shuts down. And then when the app opens up, you want to switch all that off so it's running optimally. Okay, so there's more settings in here. Most of them we're not using. Apparently there's a Netflix fix there. A Netflix fix there. I've not used it. I don't use Netflix. But people have reported that it does work for them. Okay. Request audio. I'm not really sure what that does, but I clicked it. I'm hoping that it brings the audio automatically into the system, because obviously otherwise if you leave it unclicked, for example, the radio might start coming on in the background. The radio might come on automatically in the background. So just to get rid of that and to switch the setting to Bluetooth, the Bluetooth setting in the MG settings. Yeah, the Bluetooth setting for MG settings. Okay, so that's screen to audio. But once you've set all your settings to the way you like it, again, that's to I can't remember what that does. You'll have to go screen up. There's nothing major important here. Other settings, I think, is that where we just were? Yeah, that's where we just were. Okay, so that's all the main settings we did there. The rest is S2 Echo is the other app that you install on the main phone, or is that installed on the phone. It doesn't need root, and it's just like a tasker. It just automates a few processes. Basically, you just switch the hotspot on when you go into Bluetooth. I think that's the only real thing that it's doing. It's in Russian only, so it's a bit hard to make sense of it. But it's not necessary. It can work without that. It can work without that. It's not necessary. Okay, the next app you're going to need after screen to auto is can't see it. It's a tweaker, AA tweaker, I think it's called. Here, AA all-in-one tweaker. AA all-in-one tweaker. Again, you'll find it on XDA developers, and then it goes to the GitHub. You need to download it from the GitHub. So it's called AA all-in-one tweaker. Okay. Let's click on that. It needs root privileges. So that's just the information warning about root, and also warning about not using your phone infotainment inappropriately when you're driving. Okay, next what you're going to need to do here, this is the most important thing, to allow for the screen to auto to come up in Android Auto menu, you need to patch it. So you select on the apps and you go to screen to auto and you click to patch. Anything else that you want to work as well, you can patch. I've only patched a few. But only screen to auto I think has come up. I don't think anything else has come up. Okay, maybe I need to set them. I haven't tried really. But screen to auto is the main one that needs patching, so you can see in the Android Auto on this screen. So if you can't see on this screen, yeah, it's because you haven't patched it. And after you patched it, you need to reboot the system and then plug it back in, and then it should work. Okay. Also on this app, this tweaker, AA all-in-one tweaker, there's a few settings there I've switched on. For example, speed restrictions, don't switch the infotainment off, some tap limitations and stuff like this, yeah. Disabling the navigation. Obviously, when you normally plug in Android Auto, it automatically goes to your navigator, so you can switch that off so it doesn't automatically go there. Enforcing widescreen is it puts a second screen in, and our screen, because our screens are small, there's no point in doing that. Yeah, otherwise you're gonna have two small screens. And it's got a few of the settings. I haven't tested all of them because there's no need to. Really, I only use what I think is important. The most important thing here is what I'm trying to find. Is about Bluetooth. Here. This one, it says re-enable Bluetooth Auto Connect. That is important. You need that one switched on. That will disable Bluetooth on this phone down here, yeah? It'll disable Bluetooth, so when Android Auto connects, it won't connect to that phone. That is if you're using a separate main phone like I am. If you're using a separate main phone like I am, that one needs to be connected to Bluetooth. Otherwise, when you try to make calls, it'll try to go to the broken phone down here and use that, which you don't want. The old phone, you don't want, yeah? So that's important. And again, after you can do them all at the same time, the ones that you want, and then you got to reboot for the settings to stick. Anything in here? Nothing important. Okay. So that's another important phone, tweaker. There are another thing called Phenotype Patcher. I've not used it, but I've heard about it. I've only used this one, which worked for me. Okay, let's go out. Close that down. Close that down. That's the rotation. Take that one off too. Android Auto. Android Auto. I'm not sure if I talked about this. So this one, Android Auto, for all these to work as well, you need to come down to the version and click this about 10 times, and then that will put you into developer mode. Once you go into developer mode, you click on these three buttons, and it gives you an extra developer settings. Developer settings. Yeah, you go into developer settings, and then you go all the way to the bottom, and the second one from the bottom says to install from unknown sources. You want to click that on unknown sources, click it on, and then unplug your Android Auto and plug it back in. Yeah, that will allow you to that would allow screen to auto to be installed onto Android Auto on this screen. Yeah, on this screen. Okay, what else do we need to get this up and running? Okay, the last thing is to get the navigation bar as small as possible. Just one button. Yeah, if you want to do that, you need to install an app called. You need two apps which work together. You need this one called Substratum Lite. I clicked on the wrong one. Clicked on underneath it. Back is this side. You need an app called Substratum Lite. Okay, and within that you need another app called Extras for AA. Extras for Android Auto. This app, again, it's a free app. You can find details on XDA developers, and it'll go to his GitHub. It'll go to his GitHub where you can download it. Okay, this is to make this navigation bar into one button. You can use you can get 3 buttons as well, or 2 buttons, or you can just shrink the navigation bar to half size. At the moment, I've got half size and 1 button. Yeah, or if you want to show your bar, you can show it, but you can't make it auto hide, which is ideally what you want, is to auto hide, but it doesn't have that. So it's whatever you find best, and I find having a fuller screen better for me. But however, that does come with some problems. Sometimes you can't click right at the bottom. Yeah, so this one, after you installed it, so you install the app itself. So this is telling you some information about him, and again, it's a donationware type app. Okay, So basically on this setting, so you need to download it'll tell you when you download this Extras for AA, it'll tell you what app you need to download from the Play Store. It's called Substratum Lite, and it's important you download the Lite version. There's a full version, but the Lite version is actually a beta. It's got more functions, ironically, because you would have thought it would be the other way around. But the Lite version has more functions than the full version. So in that, once you download it, basically you got a few settings. The main settings that I changed were in the heads, in the nav. I haven't really played around with this much because you got to reboot it each time, and I can't bother rebooting it and checking it. Yeah, you can change the nav completely. So if you don't want to see any nav bar, you can change it to 0, and you won't have a button, nothing at all. However, the problem with that is you will have problems. You can't go in and out. It makes it more harder. You can, for example, if you go into navigation, you can't go back into the Android Auto menu bar. It's very difficult. I haven't found a way around it. So you really want something there, but you can't get rid of it completely if you want to get rid of it completely. So I normally set it to half, which is that top one, which is a smaller size. Yeah, so I set it there, and then you go down to the last one. The others are mainly for colors. You can change the colors, which is not really that important. And then you want to find the one button, which is where I put it on. But you can make others. You can get some small vertical gradients on the side. There's a vertical bar on the side, which is I think they call it madness mode. I'm not really sure what. I think that's what my madness means. Yeah. But basically we want to go down to the one that says one button, left or right. And obviously I got the one closest to the steering wheel, which is the right. Yeah. That one. Yeah, the right. Okay. After you've selected them, then you click on here. You click on the top ones, install selected, and then you got to reboot it. After you reboot it, you come back to this screen, and you click on manage. And then you just select the one that you got. Yeah, so you can see the top one is the one I've selected. Yeah, so you select that, and then you click on after you selected it, you click on enable, and the top one, enable selected. Yeah, you can have multiple selected at the same time, and one of them might cancel another one out. So be careful what you're doing on there. Yeah, if things aren't working, unselect everything and do them one by one. So at the moment I've only got that one selected anyway. Okay, so that's all of the main apps that I can think of from the top of my head. Okay guys, I hope that helps. This is, like I said, it's going to be quite challenging technically. It's quite a lot to it. It's not just one app you install it. It requires a lot. And it's going to be different on each phone. So each phone is routed differently. It has different settings, and it requires a lot of hard work and stuff to play around with, and you have to be willing to do that. If you're not willing to do that, really, I don't think this is for you guys. Yeah, but if you're used to tinkering with your phone and stuff like that, then you should be fine with it. Yeah, and like I said, the phone will just sit in your car all the time. It will sit in your car all the time. You won't need to remove it. It'll be connected automatically all the time. Your main phone, you're going to be using it wirelessly, so you don't have to keep hooking it up. The benefits for that is your Waze will work automatically because you have the same account on both phones. It'll have all the same settings. Yeah, it'll have the same settings. And same with if you're using Google Maps. If you logged in, it'll have the same settings if you're logged in with the same account on both. Yeah. So there are some benefits there. There are some benefits there in that you have this wireless system. Like I said, the main downsides are you're not going to get your messaging and your notifications from your main phone going onto your screen. You won't get that, which you normally get in Android Auto. Obviously you won't have CarPlay as well, but again, it's very easy. All you need to do is unplug this phone and plug in your old phone, your main phone again. Plug in your main phone again, and you'll have all the other features that you want. Yeah, so you can switch backwards and forwards. So I hope that was good. We're coming to the 1 hour mark, so I'll end it there. 50 minutes mark. So I'll end it there. Hopefully that helps. Best posting the auto. Sorry, I'm not really. This is the first video I've ever made of this kind. But because it was detailed, it would be too difficult to explain all in writing, so I made a video. Okay, let me know what you guys think. All the best.